and welcome to the day away from her point of view with me, Isabel.
And me, Charlotte. First of all, as usual, we're going to start with some news, and it's been a very busy January, hasn't it, Isabel?
I'm very surprised at this, actually, at how busy we were in January, but it's been a good busy, as well as some downfalls to it.
Yeah, we'll start with obviously the departures, and just the two for us. Obviously, Jake Beasley, and we mentioned it in our last podcast. He's gone to Blackpool, which was both him and Morley. They left pretty early on, didn't they? So I was quite happy with them going early because then we could get our business done. And usually for Dale in January, there's always a late departure, isn't there, where you're thinking, come on, we're doing well now, we can hold on to these players, and there's always one on the last day that goes. So I was quite impressed.
It's Beasley's gone to Blackpool and Morley has gone to Bolton. I wasn't surprised at Morley, but I was surprised that Beasley went to a championship side club. I'm not going to lie. I think it was not out of his league. However, I would be satisfied if he went to a League One club, but I'm just very surprised he's gone to a championship club. And good on the lad. He's probably doing really well. Yeah. Morley's doing very well. He's on every game, and they've got like a 5-win streak, I think, at the moment. So he's doing really well. Dead happy for them both. Obviously, really sad for them to see them go. You never want to see one of your best players go, or two of your best players go. So then we were a midfielder and a striker down, weren't we?
Yeah, I think with Aaron Morley in particular, obviously, like you mentioned with Beasley, but Aaron Morley in particular, I've always rated Aaron Morley, mate. I've always been a really big fan of Aaron Morley.
Yeah.
And I think our fans, they've been a bit undecided. Like, you've got some fans who adore him, you've got some fans who kind of found him an easy target to pick on and stuff. And he was kind of a scapegoat for a lot of fans. They got on his back. But I think they are starting to realise now how much of a key player he actually was and what he actually did with our midfield. Obviously, because we'll get onto it a little bit later, our midfield, but I just feel like the heart of it is actually gone. And obviously, Liam Kelly and Aaron Morley formed a partnership. Obviously now, Liam Kelly is not really formed that partnership with any of the others. And as for Beasley, I was quite shocked as well, like the championship club, because I thought, he's good. But the only thing with Beasley going to Blackpool is I think they were after a specific striker, and Beasley kind of fit that role. I think he was the kind of player Blackpool were missing for the extra bit kind of thing, to get them that little bit further. Yeah. And I think because I've spoke to a few Blackpool fans on Twitter as well, and they said like they were missing that kind of role. So I think that might have been one of the reasons why obviously Beasley has gone to Blackpool. And I think it was his dad who actually played for Blackpool as well, so maybe they are quite familiar with Beasley and they do know a bit of his background.
It's not far from Rochdale, obviously, is it not? So I'm sure if you lived quite close to Rochdale, Blackpool's not that far to get to. So he lived in Manchester or something, so that was probably a benefit as well, that he wasn't going down south or anything. But especially if he played for Blackpool, then definitely he will want to pick at that opportunity as soon as he could. So good on the lad, and good on Morley for doing really.
Morley, I kind of expect, obviously he was out of contract in the summer, so it was an added bonus, this money, but Beasley going as well. And with this money, we've brought in Rory O'Keefe, but I think we ended up having to pay a small fee for him. I don't think it was much.
Honestly, when that news came out, I screamed.
Me and you
at the dinner table, and I saw a video and went, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. My flatmate was like, what's up? I went, oh my god. And then it got to like the guess who board, and then I was like, please. And it popped up and I went, ah! And then I messaged you and was like, Charlotte.
I was like, yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I was so buzzing with that. The fact that obviously absolutely buzzing we've got him as our player. However, it's only till the end of the season.
Yeah, it is only until the end of the season. And I'm thinking maybe that is because obviously, I think he did have other options.
Yeah.
And I think from what I've kind of heard, I don't know if it's true, but from what I've kind of heard is Corey O'Keefe wanted to sign for us, but his agent kind of thought there was better opportunities for him, you know,
I heard
other
that as
teams
well.
to go to. Yeah. So I'm wondering whether obviously it's just a 6 month for now, just assess where Rochdale are, how happy obviously Corey O'Keefe is, kind of thing, end of the season. And then I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we don't have to go through it all again. Because honestly, my emotions, I went through like, it was a bit like a breakup where you really, really sad at first.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of hoping, you're kind of hanging on to that little bit of hope that obviously we were going to get him. But then there was time where obviously it went on, and I thought, do you know what? I don't know if I do, obviously. Even though I did want him, I don't know if obviously it's going to happen now. So we're going to look for other people. And then obviously there was that bit on the Friday where the video got released, and yeah, I was buzzing. It was just like going through every single emotion with Corey O'Keefe.
Just the fact as well that he was in our squad before the Oldham match.
Yes.
And, you know, obviously quite a derby. So we want to put our best foot forward. And obviously the games before that, we haven't scored. We haven't really been very attacking. And then it was just like, please, Corey, please. We need you. So absolutely buzzing that he's come back.
We've paid for a couple more players in the window. We've obviously bought Luke Charman, who I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, when he came on as a sub on Tuesday against Colchester, it was weird seeing him in a number 9 shirt. That's what I thought was weird. He came off the bench, and now we're like, I did a second glance. I was like, oh yeah, Beasley, what? See him in number 9, because obviously, how long has Beasley been on number 9 for? A good 2 seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
Weird, but he looks like a good player. Very keen when he came on against Colchester.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously, he's not played for us because apart from when he came on, because obviously he had a suspension, what carried through from Darlington, but he did play for our reserves, what we'll talk about a little bit later, and he did get a hat-trick, didn't he, against Bolton's reserve, so that's quite promising.
I know, I saw that, and I was like, wow, it was just 1 goal, then 2, then 3, and I was like, fair play, showing us what he can do already.
We've got Luke Charman as striker, but we've also got another striker as well. And I don't know if it's Taven Campbell or Taven Campbell, so I don't know how you pronounce his name just yet. But
I'm saying Taven, but still waiting for the next home game, so that when they announce the squad and he's in it, that's me. What they say.
That is literally me. But obviously, we've bought him as well from Woking. I think it was Woking, wasn't it?
Yeah, Woking.
Yeah, so 2 new strikers, which I think is brilliant, adding to our attacking force.
Yeah.
Then on deadline day on Monday, we also, which I thought, I was quite shocked at this. I didn't expect us to sign anyone else, but we actually bought James Ball.
Yeah.
A midfielder.
Yeah, and I think as well, we've got Corey O'Keefe signed right back, Luke Charman, Campbell, 2 strikers. We had Downing as well. He's a defender. Max Clark, he can play on the left side. We hadn't really got another midfielder in for Morley going out. So I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't expecting it, but I'm happy now that we've got a replacement for Morley. He looks like a decent player. I've seen some highlights from him, and everybody was very gutted from his club. Was it
Solihull Moors? That's where Beasley was from, wasn't it?
Yeah. So a lot of people were very gutted when he went, which is always a good sign when you're getting a player that everyone's gutted is leaving. But I just want to see him. I want to see him start. I want to see how well his partnership will be with Liam Kelly, because obviously Liam Kelly is our main midfielder really at the moment, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm a bit because it looks like a very box-to-box midfielder. It looks quite creative from what I've seen, this James Ball. So I'm just wondering, like, how obviously this will work, kind of thing, whether it'll be more of a defensive style. But from what I've seen, he does seem very box to box and attacking. I think he's got a couple of goals like under his sleeve this season as well. So it'll just, I'm hoping that they don't do like they did, like BBM did to Aaron Morley and like the Callum Camps kind of thing, where obviously he is an attacking midfielder, but they're making more defensive, and that kind of restricts him and changes him into a different player. It's one of them. I don't really know what to expect, because I'm imagining he's just going to be the midfielder with Liam Kelly, because we don't seem to, with our formation, we don't seem to play a three in midfield. It's usually just a two, and then obviously the wing back. So obviously I'm just a bit with the formation just in general. I just don't know like where they'll all kind of fit in.
No, I feel like we could maybe be starting to make a new formation, especially with us not scoring at the moment. I'm thinking, is he going to go to plan B and change the formation a little bit? Yeah. Obviously, we've played 3 at the back, 5 in the middle, and 2 up front before. We've seemed to go back to that a lot, and I'm just thinking, are we going to do like a 3-4-3? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something needs to change, and these players that have come in hopefully can change that and bag us some goals.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so. And like the final 2, we obviously mentioned Paul Downing, who was signed actually on the day we recorded our podcast last time, and just from seeing him like the last few games, I think he's just solid, isn't he? It brings that calmness as well, I think, to the defence.
He's like a Paul McShane.
Yeah, it really is. He really is. And I think with him as well, he just sticks to your simple kind of things. He's just your simple passes, just your normal kind of defender, which allows then Owen O'Connell to get forward. And also it takes a lot of the pressure off Jarell Dorset, because obviously he's improving game by game, but he's still only young, isn't he? He is still only young. He is still learning. It's his first like season in professional football as well. So yeah, I just feel like with him at the back, it's just kind of steadying our defence. It's kind of a solid defender, and it's making our defence like from the results. Obviously, against Colchester, we conceded a goal, but the games before that, 0-0, 2 clean sheets. So you can't complain at the minute about the defence.
No, I'm really like you said, we've had 3 clean sheets, and Coleman in goal, doing very well. He did have a bad game against Tranmere, I've got to admit. We're in the finest of games, but the past 3 games, I think he has played. Had 3 clean sheets. We've just drawn. No, we haven't. We had 2 clean sheets and then a 1-1 draw, haven't we? So he has been better, and he has been. Oldham game, I thought he was very well, especially in the last 10 minutes, because they were very scary last 10 minutes when they had some chances. But no, the back 4 is strong, and I'm liking how strong it is. To say that we've only conceded 1 goal in the last 3 games, to think of it, is impressive, to be honest. But and then also scored 1 goal in the last 3 games.
I know. It's as if when obviously we get one thing right, which is now our defence, then obviously we just can't score. It's as if like we think, oh yes, we're improving now. Obviously our defence is getting better, but then our strikers just don't seem to like. Obviously, I don't want to like rant and stuff, because we've obviously no Beasley now. He was the one scoring, wasn't he? So obviously that is a massive loss for us, because he did find his feet. He was getting a run together, but also at the same time, we built our confidence against Newport. We won 3-0, wasn't it? Obviously Beasley scored, Liam Kelly scored. Then I just feel like we lost a little bit of momentum because of the COVID thing. That break came at the wrong time. We couldn't help it, but I just feel like maybe if that didn't happen, we might have got a few wins together, because our confidence was growing and growing.
Yeah, well, when we were going to talk about match analysis, I was going to say at the Charman game, we looked like we hadn't played for a while. And
very rusty, very rusty.
First game back, obviously, you're not going to be exactly the same, but it was like you could tell which team has had about 4 games off over Christmas. So it was just a bit like, oh, you know, you're hoping to still have that momentum and still have that winning energy, but it was like 2 mistakes really that could have easily been sorted, and you know we had chances, we just couldn't finish them, which was so bloody annoying. And on that game as well, it was our first game without Corey O'Keefe, and I never realised how much we needed Corey O'Keefe in my life.
It's just, it was really frustrating because the Tranmere were a good team anyway, and it was one of them where I did expect to lose because just the run Tranmere were on. But like we said, obviously, maybe we got more into the game. We had a lot of the ball, you know, we conceded them goals. We did get better. We just obviously couldn't score. But I just feel like maybe if obviously, like I said, the situation, it were COVID.
That helps, yeah,
it can't be helped. But maybe if I didn't have that, we could have gave him a bit of a better game. Pretty much down to Coleman, weren't it, the mistakes? But at the same time, he just recovered from COVID as well. He'd obviously not played for so long. So he's impressed me. He's been better, hasn't he, the other games kind of thing. So
definitely, he's definitely shown us like, right, I've had a bad game. I'll prove to you that I'm still your number one keeper kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think this January transfer window, I just feel like Robbie Stockdale is kind of now rebuilding for next season. This season, it was going to be frustrating. And I've always said, even if we were up there, we were on a run, I just think if we did get promoted this season, it would have been a season too early. Things what have been going on, new manager, totally new squad, I just think it would have been too soon. So I'm just taking this season with a pinch of salt now. We won't get relegated. I can't see it because I just think Scunthorpe and Oldham, I just think they're just down. I can't see anything but Oldham and Scunthorpe, even though obviously they've got John Sheridan back. I just can't see anything but them two being relegated. But I just think this season, I personally think I would be happy with that and just rebuilding. Obviously, our new signings gelling together, hopefully ready for next season, then we can kick on kind of thing. I'm just taking this season as us rebuilding. What about you?
Yeah. However, I don't want us to not push. Yeah. You know, I want us to push for as many wins as possible. Yeah, I will accept though, we've got 6 new players. That's half of a squad. Yeah. So, you know, half of a squad is new. We haven't had time to gel together yet. But a couple of them have had a few games, like Downey's had a few games now. Max Clark's had a few games now. Campbell, it was his 2nd game yesterday. So a couple of games in the bag. But they need, you know, they have training and stuff, but they need to have more experience together in games before we start getting annoyed. And yes, it is annoying that the new strikers not scored, and, you know, our players like Newby's not scored, or Kelly hasn't scored, Dooley hasn't scored. You know, it is frustrating, but at the same time, I'm, like you said, taking it with a pinch of salt. New players, new manager, we need to get a grips of it. But then at the same time, I want us to push to get as many wins as possible. And I think O'Connell did an interview with BBC Radio Manchester, and he was saying we're going to push and as many wins as possible. And I think Corey O'Keefe even said he's looking for from to get into the playoff spot. And I was like, all right, hold your horses, calm down.
Yeah, of course.
We've got to just keep pushing, I think, and just see. If we end up mid-table, I'll be happy.
Yeah, same here. And I feel like obviously we have got a lot of new players as well, but at the same time, it is quite frustrating because I just feel like some of our players that we have had and who are regular starters just aren't really offering as much as they're not reaching their full potential kind of thing, which is frustrating. And obviously we have lost a couple of players. We have got new ones coming in, but you know me, I like Alex Newby. He's my favourite player. I've said this a couple of times, but I just feel like don't get me wrong, he's our top goal scorer at the minute, but I just feel like he's not reaching his full potential and he could do better. Likewise with Conor Grant as well. Abraham Ado, when he came on against Oldham, I don't think he was good at all. I think he was quite...
That's the worst in play.
Yeah.
Every touch, he just couldn't get to grips of. Every pass, he couldn't get through. You know what he's like? He's fast. He's so fast on that left-hand side. And he just couldn't get past anyone. And every pass he was giving, it was too short, too long. It was just, I don't know what was wrong with him. And maybe that's why he's on the bench and not starting more, because he's not doing well at training at the moment. Another one, which is so frustrating, which he weren't even on the bench on Tuesday night's game. Where's Cashman again?
I cannot. I have no idea what's going on. I've heard different things. I don't know how true they are. I've heard he's got personal issues at the minute going on. Then I've heard he's had a falling out with Stockdale. Then I've heard he's getting called back to Coventry. There's just so much. Obviously, you always hear all these different stories. But I just think it's frustrating because if these other players, regular starters, aren't offering as much as they're capable of, and we all, don't get me wrong, we all have our off day. I'm not saying we don't, but I just feel like try something new. Yeah. Try something new.
There's no harm in doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, why he wasn't on the bench, I don't know. Why he didn't travel to Colchester, I don't know. But I would just like some form of information about it. We all do. Why he was the one that should have come on against the older game instead of Ado. He should have come on. We needed that attacking. And I just think as well, one thing that's negative about Stockdale, he always brings on subs too late. When we're drawing, he'll always bring them on like with 85 minutes gone. 5 minutes.
It frustrates me so much.
It's like 60 minutes, 65 minutes gone, and I'm like, right, we need to change. And because we at home, we sit near we sit in the main stand and it's right near the dugouts. So I'm looking at Stockdale and I'm looking back at the pitch and I'm looking at Stockdale and I'm looking back at the pitch and I'm looking to see if any of the players are changing to a Dale top, and then I'm looking back at the pitch and I'm like, just make a sub. We need to make subs quicker, because otherwise it just seems like we're just parking the bus and we're not really bothering if we get a draw. But I tell you what, as soon as they scored, Colchester scored on Tuesday night, it was like fire was up our ass. We then was the only time I've seen all season where we genuinely looked dangerous and we looked like we wanted to score.
Yeah, definitely. And I just feel as well, like with Conor Grant as well, at the minute, I personally think, and like I've mentioned, Alex Newby, I do like Alex Newby, but at the minute, I personally think it's really frustrating me at the minute, and I don't think he's doing as much as he should be doing. And even I just don't see this thing, and just drop him, put someone else there, like Cashman, like someone else, change the formation, because Cashman apparently sits and fits that number 10 role. Change it up a bit. When obviously they made substitutions the other night, Conor Grant played in his preferred position, and then obviously he scored. He played better. Yeah. So it just frustrates me. It's like when obviously when Keith Hill used to play them all in different positions, just play them in the right positions kind of thing, because obviously we are trying things out, don't get me wrong, but don't restrict the player from doing what they can do best just by playing them in a wrong position, just to fit that formation. Change your formation.
Yeah. When you
got a bit aggressive.
That's all right. Happy place. When you talk about Conor Grant, another player that has been, not living up to my expectations is George Broadbent. Yeah. He played at the right back, more the right side, right wing back role on against Tranmere, and I'm sorry, but it was not his game at all. We're obviously used to seeing Corey O'Keefe on the right hand side. I get that, and we're lucky. However, George just could not go through with the crosses. I just didn't think there was any danger on the right side at all because he was there. But then, obviously, now that Corey O'Keefe is back, he's still staying in the squad and with more of a midfielding role. He had a good game against Bradford. He had quite a few shots. He had a good game. I thought he was one of the standout players then. But again, the last 2 games, Oldham and Colchester, I've just not seen him getting into the games that I was hoping for. And maybe that's another one that we need to check. Maybe that's who they're going to swap for this James Ball. I don't know. But a little bit disappointing with George Broadbent at the minute. And I say this, and then they always end up getting like a hat trick or scoring penalties in the next game. So maybe it's a good thing that I'm being negative. Hopefully he'll prove me wrong in the next game. But no, yeah, I just wanted something more from him. I want something a little bit better from him.
Yeah, I just feel like with our midfield, obviously Morley was a massive loss. Obviously we've got Liam Kelly, he was injured. Apparently he's still got this cut on his foot, so obviously it was niggling him. He didn't have the best game on Tuesday against Colchester. Fair enough, obviously he's still suffering with that, but I just don't see what our midfield offers at the minute. Obviously that's why I'm hoping this James Ball, from what I've seen, can impress us, will fit in, but at the same time there is a lot of pressure on him. Like, these players have come from non-league, there is a lot of pressure on them, kind of thing. So it's a really tough one. It is a really tough one.
We don't want to be negative going into these players coming in as well. We are in a negative situation by not scoring for a while until Tuesday night when we scored 1. But we don't want to be too negative about it because we want it to be positive and hoping that these lads can bring us in. They do have weight on the shoulders, but they are going up a league. They are going into actual EFL League 2. So yeah, they've got to punch the weight a little bit and they've got to work hard. So there might be a bit of pressure on them, but I think it's going to be good pressure. I'm just not expecting James Ball to be Aaron Morley, and I think a lot of fans will need to understand that he's not going to be Aaron Morley. Yeah. It's going to be a work in progress. He might not be as as fast or as quick as Newbie. He might not be as skillful as Liam Kelly. It might take him some time, but we've got to be patient with these new players. But I am expecting them to be good players, because otherwise, what's the point in signing them?
Yeah, of course. And like we've said, we've signed from non-league before. Obviously, Jake Beasley's, your Craig Dawson's, your Scott Hogan's. I'm not saying they're all going to turn out that way, but at the same time, they've got to start somewhere, haven't they? They've got to obviously start somewhere, and maybe Rochdale is the place for him, and they will hopefully will gel.
I hope so.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's the news. We're still on news. We've only got through the first bit.
That was, to be fair, we've not spoken at all of Paul Downing of the January transfer window. So that was a little catch up for us all, for both of us, and for everyone to listen to what our thoughts are on the transfer window.
Yeah, that is true. So next bit of news as well. Obviously, our reserves beat Bolton 5-0. A Charman hat trick. I think Scanlon was the other scorer, and Max Taylor, if I'm right, if I can remember.
Yeah, Max Taylor scored. I saw that. I think Sam Graham played in that game as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. Danny Cashman played in it as well, so it was nice to see his name feature.
Nice to see players that we have forgot about you.
Big Jim as well. You can't forget Big Jim McNulty.
Bestie, my bestie.
Yeah, so obviously that was really good news. Our youth team of just Rochdale tweeted today, they've got through to the final and they play either Burnley or Blackpool, and they actually beat Wigan on Tuesday. So that's really good, especially because we've always been about youth, haven't we? We've had a lot of people, obviously ex-players, come from the youth. Your Callum Camps, your Jamie Allens, Andy Carrons, Aaron Morley.
Yeah, no, we have. And it's really positive to see us, because a couple of seasons now we won a trophy last season. We won the cup, didn't we, last season?
Yeah, we did.
With our youth team, and it's really good to see how promising our youth are getting. And I'm sorry, to Blackpool. But if these get through to Burnley, what a trip that would be to play against a Premier League youth side, youth academy. That'll be great for them. I'm sure Blackpool will be good again with a Championship side, but Burnley, I'm really hoping that they get to play Burnley, because what an experience that would be to play Burnley's youth section.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like we were talking about midfielders before, we've still got Ethan Briley, who could do a job in midfield, obviously. He looks a great prospect for us as well, doesn't he? So obviously with our midfield, if it did get to a point and Ethan Briley got the experience, you never know. He could become that missing piece in midfield.
Maybe next season he could be in there and be in
there.
Morley.
Yeah. Also, as well, I didn't know this, but Conor Grant, obviously he scored, didn't he, against Colchester, the 1st of February 2022. And that was exactly a year from when he first signed for us. He signed on the 1st of February 2021 under Brian Barry Murphy, which I thought were a fun fact.
Wow. You did.
I know.
Fun facts, Rochdale fans.
I know. And our last bit of news, it's not the best really. So we just really wanted to give it a push, but there's a lot going on at the minute still with the attempted hostile takeover. We won't go all into that because obviously there's a lot going on what you can read about online. We've mentioned it before on other podcasts, but the Dale Trust have actually, I can't even speak, have actually launched a crowdfunding campaign to help defend legal action that, because we're obviously facing, we're in High Court, aren't we, at the minute?
Yeah.
8 members of the board and the Dale Trust. They're obviously going through a court case at the minute, and we've fought off these people who have attempted to take over in the past, but obviously they have come through, they are taking legal action, and it's just going to cost us a lot of money, and obviously the club can't fund it. So the Dale Trust have obviously started this crowdfunding.
How evil and horrible these owners that wanted to come to own our club are. How they can do this when they know we are not a, financially well club. We don't have a lot of money at all. And I think it's just horrible that these owners, who were going to be our owners, are filing this lawsuit against us. And what would be great for people that are listening is to donate to the fundraiser, or just retweet it, share the link to people who might be able to afford to donate, because we need Rochdale to stay a fan-owned club. We don't want to be another Bury, we don't want to be another just Wigan, Bolton, whatever, just
Macclesfield, them kinds.
We can't be like that. So please just do us a favour, retweet it. We'll post it on social media. We have to post it on social media, but we'll make sure we share that link after this podcast is up. And donate if you can, because it is so important. I've donated. I'm sure Charlotte's donated.
Yeah, I've donated as well.
So it means a lot to us, and this is our club. This is our fan club. We don't want
and obviously the football family, it's gone from, obviously you've got your Premier League, you've got your Championship, League One, League Two. I have a lot of people on Twitter, obviously through football, who I know, and I just want to say, even if Rochdale doesn't mean anything to you, kind of thing, just imagine if it was your club, and obviously like if it was your club that could be on the brink of obviously something bad happening to them. And Rochdale might not mean anything to you. You might have not really heard of them before, but this club has literally got a lot of people through some dark times in their lives. For that 90 minutes where you're watching a football match, it's like an escape for people. And without Rochdale, I don't know what I'd do. I'd honestly, it'd break my heart as much as
I don't I don't follow anyone in the Premier League, obviously, because Rochdale's my club. Imagine if Man City was in this financial situation and all their fans had to raise money to save their club. Like, it would just be such a different effect. So just imagine if it was one of your clubs.
Yeah,
we did it for other clubs. Now it's your turn.
Yeah, and on Twitter as well, it actually really got my back up. Obviously the situation with Bury, and don't get me wrong, there is a small minority of Rochdale fans, like there would be other fans as well, who did laugh at Bury. But some guy started arguing with me on Twitter about it, and I just said to him, I said, don't start on me. I said, I was one of them people who donated to Bury. My 2 cousins were season ticket holders at Bury. As much as we've got that minority of fans, like obviously we all have them idiots, don't we, kind of thing at football.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me that people have to bring that up, because yeah, it is true, but I'm not one of them fans, like Isabel's not. There's plenty of other Rochdale fans who are not, kind of thing, who didn't laugh, who didn't want anything bad to happen to Bury, like we don't want to happen to Oldham. So it just really annoyed me, that kind of comment, because it was like, I'm one of them people who donated to Bury, and we're not all like that, are we? We're not all like that.
I hate Bury with a passion. But however, them, being in the situation that they was and being no longer a club is absolutely heartbreaking, because imagine how much money would we get every year for that derby? It would be
6 points. 6 points.
Yeah, exactly. 6 points. Atmosphere. That was our derby. We can say all we want that Oldham's our derby. It's not. Rochdale versus Bury was the derby, our local derby. Yeah. So I was upset because we don't have there isn't just like a Sunderland versus Newcastle or whatever. Imagine if Sunderland were in that situation and Newcastle didn't have anyone. We have Oldham, and people can say that it was a derby the other weekend, but it's not. It wasn't Bury. And for people to say that, laughing at people at Bury not being a club anymore, it's not the nicest, but people will be like that. That's their opinion. But me and Charlotte don't feel that way about Bury. We just really hope people aren't feeling that way about Rochdale, and they don't want to see us go the way that Bury did.
Yeah, and especially because obviously we're not going to name names, but obviously these people have also been part of other football clubs, kind of thing, and obviously the football clubs they have been involved in have obviously been run down, and they could have been on the brink as well. And yeah, even if it's not a lot, even if it's just a couple of pounds or just a retweet, just tagging someone in who has a voice to try and make obviously this story go out there, just anything really, because at the end of the day, Rochdale is a family club. It's a massive part of mine and Isabel's lives, like it is many others, and we just don't want to lose our club. We've been fan owned before. We've obviously managed it really well for all these years. Don't get me wrong, we're not financially up there with obviously your Forest Greens, your Salfords, your Tranmeres and stuff, your Bradfords, kind of thing. We have been that kind of club that have to develop players and sell them on to survive. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's our club, and without our club, obviously, I just wouldn't even want to think about it. I really wouldn't. No, I'm getting emotional here. My eyes are filling up.
I know. It's just please retweet, please donate if you can. That's all we can ask.
Yeah. And we will pop the links on Twitter. We'll pop them on Instagram. Obviously, we've got a website now. We'll pop them on there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll put them everywhere. So if you could share it, or if you could donate absolutely anything, it doesn't have to be much. We would really, really appreciate it.
Definitely.
But yeah, on to match analysis. We'll keep this short and sweet because
we have talked a lot about it already. To be fair.
Yeah, we have. So we'll just go a bit through, obviously, the results. We lost against Tranmere 2-0, but I kind of expected that, to be fair. We were rusty. Obviously, we made a couple of mistakes, our goalkeeper, but Tranmere are up there kind of thing. They
Tranmere has
just
the best
like
defence. Yeah, Tranmere have the best defence in the league. We can't be any more or anything than that. They have a very good defence, and we saw that. You know, they didn't look all there. They didn't look like the best team in the league at all. They just had a very solid defence, and hopefully now with our new signings, we can look that good as well.
Yeah, 100%. Bradford was a 0-0 draw. Saw glimpses. Obviously, I think the first half for me, it was quite even. It was quite scrappy. But then the second half, obviously, I thought Bradford weren't that great, to be honest. Yeah. I think we could have gone on in the second half to win it with some of the chances we did have. Probably should have won it. But I don't think Bradford were all that.
We also had 3 injuries that game, didn't we? We had Kelly get injured, we had Josh Andrews get injured, and we had Eddie White get injured, all in like the first half, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was obviously quite challenging as well, because obviously you want to use your subs to impact the play and obviously to bring them on. When your players get tired, you don't want to obviously lose a player through injury, but losing them 3 quite key players through injury, just not good, is it?
No, and that was the point as well. We hadn't signed a striker yet. So as soon as Andrews got injured, we were like, right, great. We don't have a striker. Obviously, Mike Dawn keeps coming on as a sub for a striker, and I'm thinking, why? Why is he coming on?
Bless him.
I know. He's always offside. He has a go. He runs forward. But, you know, I think he did better when he was left back.
I know. Bless him.
But no, yeah, we should have won it, let's be honest. Max Clark had a good game. That was his debut game, and he had a good game.
He did really well. To say as well, like, obviously, Eddie White got injured quite early on, didn't he, as well? And we signed him. I think we only signed Max Clark. Was it the day before? So he didn't really, So obviously, he'd not really had time to fit in and gel with the players. But to be fair, I think out of all the games we played, that was his best performance. But I do think he's going to be a key player, and I think him on the left wing back, Corey O'Keefe on the right wing back, I think they could cause quite a few problems. I really do.
They definitely can. And which leads us on to the Oldham game, where the day before we signed Corey, and that right-hand side, the links up between Newby and Corey on the right-hand side for a good 60 minutes, they were so dangerous. Honestly, they're, you know, Oldham didn't have anybody on that side for a lot of the game, and that's where all the problems were. Just all on the right side, where Corey, every time Corey came into play, you know, the fans were abusing him a little bit because of how bloody good he kept getting through and getting into the dangerous areas, getting the defenders to freak out a little bit. But Corey and Newby, they were just such a good duo that day. Campbell also had his debut game. He looks a trier. He really does.
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for Campbell because I just felt like because obviously I thought Oldham weren't great at all. Obviously, they came into it again, obviously later on kind of thing. They had a few chances later on. But with Campbell, I just felt a bit sorry for him because I just felt like he wasn't getting anything really to him kind of thing. He was quite restricted. It was quite even though I thought we played better by a mile, to be honest, I still think it wasn't the best game. And I thought they were quite a dirty team as well. Obviously, I wasn't really keen on Sam Hart when he played for us. Didn't really rate him that much, but I just thought he really got on my nerves.
Honestly, Corey O'Keefe was living in Sam Hart's head rent-free.
And like we mentioned as well about Ado, I don't think he should have really took Newby off when he took him off. I think Newby was getting more into the game. Yeah. He should have really took him off, but I could see obviously why he did it. Obviously, Newby played pretty much all the match. I think it was quite late on he brought Ado on, but I just feel like Ado, as much as I do like Ado and I do see potential in him, at the same time, I think there were a stat on Twitter, and I think he's played 30 games, 1 goal and no assists. And from from like an attacker, you expect a lot more than that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you really do. And that
Yeah.
just kind of sums up our season, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, he has been one of the key players that when it comes to attacking, he is one of the faster players and he will pass it through. And he also played a left wing back role for a couple of games. So, you know, he has been elsewhere, but, you know, you do expect a lot better than that for one of your, you know, attacking the field, attacking players up front. One goal in 30 is not what you want from your forwards.
Yeah, and I just feel like with Ado as well, like he's very quick and stuff. He does cause a lot of trouble, like pace-wise.
Yeah.
But I just feel like his final ball just isn't there, kind of thing. And obviously, even if he's not scoring, you want assists here and there. You want like to get the ball and you want to like try and create something. But I just feel like with Ado, his final ball just isn't it at all.
No, and yeah, it was one of the worst. He only played for about 10 minutes, but it was one of the worst I've seen him play.
Yeah, and then leading on to Colchester, like I have no arguments whatsoever about the goal, Colchester's goal, because it was a wonder goal from I think it was Alan Judge. Yeah. It was just class. It was class.
We didn't have Cashman or Lynch on the bench on this game, which we already mentioned about Cashman's, but I'm because it was Brad Wade on the bench, so I'm hoping that Jay Lynch is all right. If he's got any injuries, I'm sure we'll find out this week, but hope he's all right. We obviously finally scored as well.
I know, Connor Grant.
But like I said before, once they scored, you know, this, I think it was their number 10, once he scored, it was just like we had a firework up all of our asses, and then like, right, we'll score now. You know, we didn't see that from the start, but as soon as they scored, it was just such a different, dangerous like team.
Yeah, I just feel like it's really frustrating, and it's similar with every game that obviously we've touched on, like the recent games, where I just feel like our defence is more solid, but then now we're struggling attacking wise, and obviously we've got new strikers. Obviously, we do need time to fit in. Charman came on, which was very promising. And obviously, once he came on, we scored kind of thing. I know he wasn't to do with the goal. It was an assist, obviously, by Corey. And then Connor Grant finished it. But it's just very frustrating because I just feel like the last few games, it's just been the same thing. And we're keeping a lot of the ball. We're having a lot of possession, but we're not creating much now. Whereas we were creating it, but we weren't finishing. We just now seem to be lacking that creativity.
No, definitely. And I think, like we said, these new players need to give us that attacking that we are looking for, them goals that we are not finishing. We need to bring this, and it will come with time. However, our players need to book their ideas up. Newbie, Connor Grant, Adele, Liam Kelly, they need to get into it more. I know Liam Kelly is coming back from injury a little bit more, but I want to see more. I want to see more from our regular starters, and hopefully see some more from the new players as well.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on now, because we seem to have like gone off on a tangent, especially with the first bit of news in January. But I think we've got some questions, haven't we? And I think we'll start with the one about the Oldham fan, because that was just, as much as I don't want to give it much attention because it's a negative, I think we should, because this is kind of what we're doing the podcast for. This is why we're trying to promote the Her Game 2 campaign. And I think we just need to touch on it, don't we, really?
So the question is, what can the club do about idiots that were abusing the girl at Oldham? So some of you might not know, it has been on Twitter quite a bit. Basically, at the Oldham game, we brought a lot of fans. I think we brought 2014 fans, so a very good amount of fans to come to an away game. There is a lot of fans that were chanting to an Oldham fan in the other stand, and it was a girl, a teenage girl. She was probably about 16, 17, I wouldn't say much older than that. She was just stood in the stands with all the other fans, enjoying the game, and then all of a sudden there was the chance of, you know, get your tits out for the lads. That happened. I was sat there, I thought, here we go. You know, it normally happens. You normally get one chant like that a game, you know, probably from the fans that have come who aren't even Rochdale fans, who are just more the Man United fans, Premier League fans. But that first one came, and then another one came, and then a third one came. I think that was, excuse the language, but I think it was, she's got chlamydia. And, you know, you get it, and I'm like, right, okay, we're being a bit too much now, and people were starting to look around. I think it was about 6 or 7 chants in the end where they were all going towards this one girl. And like I said at the start, we're used to the one chant of get your tits out for the lads. You always hear that you always hear that at football games. But they were just some absolutely disgusting language that was used in some of the chants. You know, one of them was like, give her 20 quid and she'll suck you, you know. You know, I'm going to finish it.
It's just awful, isn't it? And
absolutely horrendous. I turned around on, because I was sat on the front area, and I turned around and looked at them. Didn't give them any reaction, but I just gave them a look, and a couple of lads, about 5 lads who were singing, were pointing at me and looking at me as if to say, okay, look, we've stirred a reaction from one of them. And it really was really disappointed, because there were children there. There were children there. And if I wasn't a regular Dale fan, think that, say if that was my first game and they're using language like that and I'm a female, I would not want to come back. I won't want to come back. And no matter how many times people have said, oh, you're all just being snowflakes, and oh, it always happened in football. She was 17. I know she said on social media that she doesn't care, she's not bothered. But if that was somebody else, if that was somebody's daughter, one of the fans that were chanting, if that was their daughter, their sister, their mother that they were chanting at, it would be a different story. It's because it was a young 17, 16-year-old girl who was stood in the away end with her friends, whoever, feeling, she probably, I bet all the lads were like, oh, don't feel, they do it all the time. It happens in football games. You'll get used to it. And why are we getting used to it? Why are we getting used to it? Why are we not shocked that we hear one discriminated chant towards girls? It's just, it really viles me. And I'm not one, so I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'm not one to post on social media when something makes me angry or something happens. I'm just there for the bounce. I'm just there to retweet when we have a signing or goal. I said, I'm not being funny, but the chants that were sung today by our fans were awful. And half of the people agreed with me. Majority of the people that I have on social media agreed with me and could not believe the disgusting chants that were coming on.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, obviously, this is why we're doing it, isn't it? The podcast and working with Her Game too, like I mentioned, but at the same time as well, it's just, even if obviously it is sexism, but not just that, it's the fact that there's thousands of fans there at a big game, and one young girl is being targeted. It's like, even if it was a boy, if it was anyone, one person is being targeted, and it's embarrassing. You're in front of thousands of fans, and obviously that one person's being singled out. And I just, like we mentioned before, it angers me. But at the same time, obviously we've been watching Rochdale for obviously how many years and stuff, and you're always going to get people like that. But at the same time, it's not, I don't hear about this at home games. Obviously, you sit in a different stand to me. You've not heard that. I obviously sit in the Pearl Street end. I've not heard that. And I just think, like, these people, they're letting the club down. But are they even Dale fans? Are they just going to cause trouble just to be idiots? And it annoys me, because it's letting the club down. But at the same time, obviously, we can't fault the club, because as soon as they obviously heard about it, they've made a statement. Our chairman's obviously tweeted about it as well and said they won't tolerate that behaviour. There was a newspaper article obviously praising the club for that and saying they will obviously these fans won't tolerate the behaviour of these fans. And it's just frustrating because there's a lot of good things happening to Rochdale Football Club, and obviously we want to get people coming watching. Obviously the community, we want to get it so obviously people of the community think it's a safe place, but it just drives me mad because we seem to all be doing really well, and these few selective people let us down. And the good thing was, though, which I was really happy about at the same time, was obviously we received a message off a lady. We won't obviously name names, but she felt obviously comfortable coming to us, and she actually asked us how to approach the situation and if there was anything obviously they could do to report it to the club, didn't she? Which obviously is quite refreshing for us and quite reassuring that these people obviously trust us and obviously we seem to be making a good impact on them.
Yeah, influencing more people to go to games, which is great, but we're also a safe place for women. Also a safe place for women to come and express their opinions and to come and listen without feeling judged or feeling, like they're being viewed. I am still on a little bit of a tangent, but I've been thinking, if I'm a person just like every other Dale fan is, if I didn't have female body parts, I would be viewed just the same. But it's just because I have female body parts that I am viewed that I can't watch football. If I didn't have female body parts, I would just be just the same. I'll be a Rochdale fan. I'll be enjoying football. I'll be sat there watching my team playing a derby. But because I've got female body parts, I have boobs and I have a womb, it means that all of a sudden I can't like football. And I'm pointed out, and it's just a misogynistic culture that unfortunately is very toxic at the moment. If that girl was offended, that might have been our last game going to football, and that's what's really sad, because I can't imagine my life without football. I really can't.
Yeah, same.
To have my club, the fans who are going supporting my club, saying them chants was horrible. And I am on them Facebook pages. I probably shouldn't be, because I'm only there for the laughs, because everybody on that Facebook page who posts is just idiots.
Deluded. Deluded, aren't they?
Someone put on, just because, will I get banned if I say get your tits out on here then, with laughing faces? And everybody on the comments were taking the mick as well. Somebody said it's just the same as saying the referee's a wanker.
Wow.
How is it just the same as saying the referee is a wanker? You are discriminating me for my gender. You are discriminating me as a woman, as someone with rights to not like football. I don't understand it. I mean, this wasn't even to me. This was for the girl, but I just felt disgusted, and I couldn't stop thinking about it for days on end. And this is one of the reasons, like Charlotte said, that we're both doing this podcast, so we can try and stop these misogynistic views towards women and just let us watch football. That's all we want to do.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, we did receive that message, and we just wanted to let everyone know, if they do witness any behaviour, if they are a victim of this behaviour, what they can do. And that's whether it's actually in the game, at a stadium, if you obviously get chanted at, if obviously someone makes a comment, if you're in the surrounding areas around the football ground, whether it's a away game, a home game, or even if you're in the pubs, the food kiosks, anything like that actually in the ground. If you experience this behaviour, you can report it, and you can actually report it to, it's an email, Rochdale AFC run this email, and it's office@rochdaleafc.co.uk. But not only that, you can obviously report it to the club, but you can also visit the Her Game 2 website, which is hergame2.co.uk, and you can actually report anything that's happened, and they will get in contact with the club, and obviously the club will sort this out. So if anything does get said, if anything does happen, which I hope it doesn't, fingers crossed, but even any men listening to this, if you do experience, like, if you do witness any behaviour towards somebody, you can do that too. You can report it as well. And obviously we don't want people like this in our football club. We want the football club to get as many fans as possible. We need it at the end of the day. Obviously you've got your diehard supporters who go watching us. We're not a massive club. We've obviously got local teams around us who are bigger. People go watching them, but we want new fans come in. We want families watching. We want like a little girl going with a dad, a brother and a mum, like the whole family. We want it to be a club where no one's discriminated. Everyone can watch football, no matter what race, no matter what sexuality, no matter like gender. We want everyone to be able to enjoy football, and we want it to be a safe spot as well. We really do. And I think actually this weekend in the programme against Carlisle, we actually do touch on this as well, don't we, Isabel?
Yeah, we talk about a girl who has an Instagram page who's only, I think she's 6 years old, and she's got an Instagram page run by her dad, and she is an incredible footballer for her age. However, because of her age, she cannot be scouted for any academies because she's too young. However, if she was a boy, say she was a boy and was 6 years old, she could be in a Premier League academy by now. There isn't any girls' academies for under nines. So imagine if we get the next Jill Scott coming up through the ranks, and she can't be scouted, or she can't even be looked at until she turns 9. Whereas boys, as soon as they start kicking a ball, can be scouted and be in a Premier League academy or something like that. It's just not fair. And we are moving forward with the times, and there are a lot of clubs who do support her game too. However, there still are little bits out there that aren't up to scratch with what's going on in society right now. So that is what our column in the programme at the Carlisle game is going to be about. So make sure you give that a read. So back to the questions after that little tangent. I mean, you obviously all knew we were going to talk about that. Come on.
Yeah.
So, do you think Robbie Stockdale is the right man for Rochdale? I think that is such an unfair question.
I do as well. I really do.
Been at the club half a season.
It drives me mad, because just managers, like, no matter what league you're in, they just are not given the time. And for somebody like I mentioned, for somebody it's his first job, don't get me wrong, but he does have a lot of experience. He knows a lot of contacts. He knows a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this season, like I mentioned before, I think it would have been too soon if we got promoted. He's built a whole new team. He's learning himself. And as much as it is frustrating, we're not playing bad football. We're not playing bad football at all. I just think we need to find our feet, find our starting 11, our formation, and I think we'll be fine. I think he's doing a really good job, and he's a really likeable guy as well. It really is. He tells it how it is in his interviews. And
he's not one.
I'm really happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy as well. He's not one of them to hide things from the fans. He'll just say it there and then. Post-match, not post-match. Before one of the games, he said, "Oh yeah, and we're gonna have like 2 or 3 signings coming in this week," and we're like, "What?" That kind of thing. If we got that from BBM, we would never get that. We would get that on the day of the signings coming in. He's just so free, and he's so honest as well. If we've had a bad game, he'll say we've had a bad game. He'll say where we've had a bad game. I think it was the Charman game. He said for the first 3/4 of an hour, we just let them run with it, and then after that, our back 4 came into play. Fair play. Fair enough. He's just very honest, and I really like him. I don't want him to go anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's quite an unfair question kind of thing, especially like given how long he's actually been here and what he's actually doing. And it is, at the end of the day, it was a massive project, because just in general, the club at the minute, because obviously the board, it's all new board members, new chairman, new manager, new team. I think we've just got to give them all time.
Yeah, no, definitely. Next question. If you could have any former Dale striker back until the end of the season, who would it be? Without a doubt, Adam Lafondre.
I've got two. Mine would be a toss-up between Grant Holt, because I just think he's finishing. That's what we need at the minute. And he's quite a physical player. He'd bully the goalkeeper, the opposition's goalkeeper, or obviously Ian Henderson.
Yeah. I have a friend as well, because he also was one of them that just finished off what was started. He was just there.
Yeah, that's true.
He was ready for the goals. He didn't care how he got to score a goal. He did it. He was there to finish off the goals, and that's what he did.
That's a good question.
Where you're going with Ian Henderson as well, because that's what we have been missing ever since he went.
Yeah. Love you, Hendo, if you're listening. Come back.
Realistic views on where we will finish this season and bar goals, what would you say we are missing at the moment in order to start turning these results into wins? This is a good question. Realistic views on where we will finish this season. I will realistic say 12th.
Yeah.
Between 10th and 12th. No, between 8th and 12th, I'll say. I think it would be really good if we get anywhere near playoffs, but realistically, I think 10th and 12th area is where I think we're going to end up if we score goals. If we don't score goals, we're just going to stay where we are in the bottom half of the table. But if we start scoring the goals that these players have been brought in to do, I think we can be up there.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to say, I think realistically, I would like to finish top half of the table.
Yeah.
Even if it's just the bottom of the top half, I would like to finish top half of the table. And I think we're just missing that quality, that little bit of quality kind of thing. We've got the players, they have got potential, but I think we're just missing. This is what I mean. I can't even say what we're missing. I just think we're missing that just little bit of, like your Ian Henderson kind of thing, that bit of like quality, just to push us that little bit further.
You need the quality up front, but also you need the midfielders, because I think it was the Oldham game, we just, for a long time, we didn't look like we had any midfield at all. It was just going around the back, and it was going around the back. We are passing to the back a bit more now, which I'm not saying is the end of the world, but it's because that none of our midfielders are opening up chances for the defenders to pass to them. So I think the midfield at the moment needs to be a little tighter. And I think as soon as we get the chances from the midfield, the strikers need to be on it. The forward needs to be on it.
I think what we're kind of missing as well is that like kind of workaholic, like you've obviously got your Liam Kelly, and I'm hoping this James Ball could fit in that role. Your workaholic midfielder, like your Gary Jones, your dirty midfielder, your Ollie Rathbone, who's not scared of putting, obviously you're running, obviously getting his footing kind of thing. I think it's more of that physical player in midfield. Obviously you've got your creative player in Liam Kelly, your pretty footballer who can do all his fancy passing, which obviously is great. But even with Aaron Morley, like, as much as he were creative, obviously, he was defensive as well. I think it's just that kind of solid player who's not scared of like getting his foot in, who's not scared of like going in and like hurting, obviously not hurting someone, but like getting the tackle in and stuff like that. I just think more like your Ollie Rathbone, your Gary Jones kind of person kind of thing. I think that's what we're kind of missing as well.
No, I agree, definitely. Can you see Jarell Dorset playing in the Premier League one day? A very composed, strong centre-half who's impressed me at Dale. I think with the way he's going and improving, how quickly he's improving and how strong he is at the moment, I think he could possibly make it to the Premier League. I think he'll definitely make it to the Championship.
Yeah, I think it's a harder one with the Premier League, because obviously with the Premier League in general, obviously you get your players coming through, but you mostly get, it's more of a money kind of league, isn't it? Where obviously you've got your foreign players coming in, obviously you've got your star players coming in from all these different countries. It's not really about your your lower league players, obviously, if they do take the step up, fair enough, and they come through, then obviously they've made it. But I think the way he is going and the way he's improving, it could make it to a high level. I don't know if it'd be Premier League with just how the system works and how you've got to be on your game and very thingy for the Premier League, haven't you? But I think he could definitely make it Championship with how he is improving. Obviously,
I can't see a Premier League team coming by in. Let's just say that. But what I can see, if he goes to a club, like if he goes back to Reading and they make it into the Premier League, I can see him doing it that way and making it maybe coming on the sub or something like that. If he continues improving the way he is. But I can see him in Championship, definitely.
But at the same time as well, obviously, we are saying this, but I didn't think, obviously, of the likes of Sanchez had obviously been now Brighton's Brighton's like first goalkeeper kind of thing. And obviously you've got Craig Dawson, haven't you, who's now playing for West Ham. So it can happen, but I just think you've obviously got to be kind of on your game, and it's got to kind of go right for you, hasn't it, kind of thing. And he is only young, so who knows? But I'm not too sure on that one.
Who's your favourite player in the January window? Without a doubt, Corey O'Keefe.
Do you know what? I'm going to go for someone different. And obviously, I'm really excited about, obviously, Charman. But I'm actually going to go for the loan signing of Downing, because I just think that is the player that we have needed in defence. Obviously, he's only played a few games, but I just think he's a calming, older head who can make your defence solid. And I think that's kind of what we've needed for a few seasons now. And I don't want to obviously jump the gun because it's only been a few games, but I just seem to think he's kind of steadied it, and we've not had that in a while, have we, defence-wise?
No, definitely not. I get that. And from what he's done so far, I think he's a brilliant player and he really fits in well with our back four. If I had to say somebody else, I would probably say Charman, actually.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he's going to bring, because he's already made an impact on obviously the reserves. I know the reserves, but
he's
obviously made an impact. He clearly was massively missed from Darlington. I think he's got the attitude from the game Colchester. He looks like he has the attitude of constantly wanting that ball and constantly wanting to be at the back of the net or be near the back of the net, so he can create these goals for us. He looks an exciting prospect, so I'm excited to see where that goes with him.
Yeah, he does. They all seem to like. I'm hoping they all bring something. And to be fair, we've needed these players. We've needed strengthening in the areas, and I personally didn't think we were strengthening all these areas. And I think it's been a great January. So obviously, my favourite out of them all is Downing, but at the same time, I am excited to see them all play, kind of thing, and how they obviously gel.
Definitely. Do you think the club need to buy players from higher/senior leagues instead of relying on non-league players? It's great we are buying, but worrying they are mostly from lower leagues. That's a tough one, because that's like saying, should the Premier League invest in players from Championship or players from League One? You know, should the Premier League have bought Luke Matheson, or should West Ham have bought Craig Dawson from where was he? West Brom, was it?
What, I think he went from West Brom to Watford. Were it Watford?
Yeah. So you've got to put money and investment into these players. You're bringing them up from a league that they have that they've been in, and they're coming up a league. They will have the different kind of training. They'll have the different kind of experience. So you want to invest in them, but it's just whether how much you invest in these players.
Yeah, and I think as well, people need to remember, especially Rochdale fans in general, we've bought these players, we've paid for these players, but at the same time, we've not got the money to go and get a player from maybe a higher league or maybe even the same league kind of thing. We have never had that budget. And you've got to take the chance. It's like, look at your Scott Hogans, look at your Craig Dawsons kind of thing. I'm not saying every every player is going to be like that, but we obviously got Jake Beasley from non-league. Look, now he's gone to Blackpool kind of thing. He's made us money. It's like payday for us kind of thing. So don't get me wrong, it would be nice if we could, like other teams, go and look higher and elsewhere, but Rochdale has never been like that. We have never been that club.
Yeah, no, and I think, yeah, it would be nice if we could get someone from a league above us, 100%, but we'll only ever do that if it's a loan. I can't see us doing that unless we have billionaire buyers coming next week. I can't see us, getting anybody else other than from League 2 or below.
Yeah, of course.
Who would you choose as your starting 11 for the Carlisle game? It's a tough one because I would not change anything from the back four or the keeper. I'm keeping Max Clark, Downing, O'Connell, Corey O'Keefe. I want to keep them. And then I want newbie, Liam Kelly. How was it James Ball start?
I was going to say, I think I want James Ball to just start, but at the same time, will he risk him start? I don't know.
I would like to see what he can do because I think we've had enough of Broadbent now, I'm not going to lie. So, James Ball, Charman, Campbell, and Dooley, I think would be my starting 11 for Saturday. The only change I would do was Broadbent and Broadbent for what I just said. Broadbent for James Ball and Connor Grant for Charman.
Yeah, mine would be obviously Coleman. I'd stick with your Downing, O'Connell, Dorset, Corey O'Keefe, Max Clark. Then I'd go Ball, Liam Kelly. I would go with Charman, Campbell, and I don't know how to newbie and Connor Grant, because obviously Connor Grant got the goal, don't get me wrong. And obviously newbie's been more frustrating me recently, but I don't think I'd drop newbie because you never know with newbie. But yeah, I think it'd be a toss-up between newbie and Connor Grant on the other opposite side kind of thing. But that would be, apart from that little dilemma, that would be my 11.
Yeah. Perfect. And score predictions for Saturday. Ugh, I don't even want to think about it.
You can go first.
0-0, probably. No, I'm going to be positive and hope for a 2-0 win because we've obviously got these new players that have started, and I think we can keep the clean sheet up. I'm going to be very optimistic and say 2-0. I'm going to say Charman and newbie.
For both. Oh. I'm going to go for... Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 2-0. I think Carlisle run a bit of a bad run. Obviously, they were down at the bottom, but they've put quite a good run together. But I just think, obviously, our defence is looking more solid. That was a wonder goal, obviously, against us the other day. Keeper couldn't do anything about it. I'm going to go for 2-0, and I'm going to go for Downing because I think he's come close a couple of times from a corner. Yeah. And I think I'm going to go for him, and I'm going to go for Liam Kelly.
That's a good show.
I'm just going to go random. Yeah, Liam Kelly and Downing.
Now, I'm going to have Liam Kelly for the last question. He would be your player of the season so far. Without a doubt, I think. Oh, actually, it would be between Corey O'Keefe and Liam Kelly for me. Liam Kelly has been very solid for us all season, but so has Corey O'Keefe. But I think Liam Kelly has had Rochdale at heart the whole way through, whereas obviously Corey O'Keefe had to think about other clubs and didn't play for a bit. Liam Kelly has always wanted to be posting about our results on Twitter as well. So not just I know it's more about the playing side, but for me, Rochdale's player of the season so far, I would have Liam Kelly.
Yeah, mine were a toss-up between both of them. Because you've said Liam Kelly and said your reasons, I'll go for the opposite side and I'll go for Corey O'Keefe. And that's just because I just think he makes that difference. Obviously, it makes an impact. I think from what obviously we've seen on social media, the players absolutely adore him. I think he's a bit of a joker in the dressing room kind of thing. He's like one of the, I think they all get on really well, but it seems to be like Corey O'Keefe instigates a lot of it and is a likable kind of character. Obviously, fans love him. And yeah, I just think he's the player of the season so far. I think just, not even just on the football pitch, I think just in general, like, he's brought the fans together. It's just obviously how excited we were when we signed him. I'm gonna go for him.
Right. Well, unless you have anything else to say, I think that is everything for today's episode. I feel like this is a really long one.
I know. It's just me and you as well, no interviews, and we've just kind of gone off on one.
We have had a lot to talk about, to be fair. Transfer window and the Oldham game especially. Obviously, it both mean a lot to us. We need to talk about it. So I think it's been quite a good episode this week.
Yeah, I think it's been really good. And I just want to remind everyone as well, like what we said before, we will post the links in the social media. And if anybody can retweet, can donate to the fundraising for our, obviously for the Dale Trust, then we'd really, really appreciate it. Even if you can't afford anything, just a retweet, just get it out there, just share it.
Positive how many people have shared the link and also donated, so thank you to all have donated, and if you can, please donate, and we'll attach the link like Charlotte said.
Yeah, and thank you so much for listening, and yeah, we hope you enjoyed this one, even though it's been a really long one, and just thank you for listening.
Thank you guys, bye.